Hello there. This is going to be a video about a Wolverine bolt for VSR. This is the HP system sold by Wolverine Airsoft. It's a conversion kit for the Marui VSR system. And this video is mostly dedicated to present the exchange of O-rings within the system, because this specific one has a little issue of leaking air, in the sense of which if this is connected to the air, battery is connected and it's in its default form. If I submerge this end into water, it will slowly be bubbling out from this end. Now I have contacted Wolverine Airsoft, and they have asked for a demonstrative video, which I sent over, and they have asked me to replace an O-ring, or I could send the product back to them for servicing. Now, considering the fact that I am living in Romania, and this is not personally mine, it's one of my clients' unit, I think the costs of shipping alone, without the import and export fees for delivering out of the country, taxes, would greatly be over the worth of the work itself. So yeah, it's the shipping costs are maybe not more than the engine's cost, but I think they're definitely more than just the work of replacing some O-rings. So I have decided to exchange all of the O-rings inside the system. We have a replacement O-ring kit from Wolverine Airsoft for the bolt system, and we're going to go ahead and exchange all the O-rings inside here, and then do the water test once again once it is done. So I'm going to just go ahead and quickly demonstrate that this is in fact a working unit. I have the battery right here. I'm just going to connect this here real quick, and you might hear the solenoid go off. And just to be fair, I'm also going to connect it to some air. And let's have it go off now. There you go. It's an absolutely working condition. Let's disconnect the air. Alright, and now I'm just going to disconnect the battery and disconnect this air line, so I can have a much easier way of working. So I'm just going to take the battery out and put the cable harness to the side. Disconnect the air line. Now we have the bare system. Now let's go ahead and disassemble this and replace all of the O-rings from this box. Now let's open the box, and for my ease and convenience, this box hasn't been completely sealed. It has a little bit of a sealing defect here, which means I can just open up the side without tearing the box apart and taking out the O-rings. Just like that. Alright. have a little bit of an instruction pamphlet in here telling us where each and every O-ring goes. Just as you can see there. And now, for your information, this is the first time that I ever replace O-rings on a HPA engine, but I've replaced dozens of other O-rings on many other things, so this shouldn't be too complicated. Alright, let's go ahead and, well, I don't think we're going to need to replace this O-ring because this is probably just a buffer to when you push the bolt back in. And the sealing one is actually in this cap over here. So we're just going to go ahead and take everything apart. Alright, so our first O-ring should be right in there. And then we're going to gently remove it with this. Try not to pinch anything, just be very careful if you do this. There you go, first O-ring off. Alright, now judging from these dimensions, this might be a little bit too small and thick. This is too big. So this middle one should be the perfect fit. So we're just going to take it and drop it in here. Gently place it in. There we go. This should be, yeah, that should be fine. Now also, very important, you should always lube these O-rings before you put them into use. So for that purpose, we have this special lubricant which is used in high pressure air equipment. Although in this configuration most probably you're going to have the lower pressure, so you're not going to have the whole 3000 psi from a bottle. You're most probably going to get like 170 psi, which is not that high of a pressure, but we're still going to be using this for all our intents and purposes of all the HPA equipment. So let me get my broken Allen wrench, which I used once upon a time to disengage an old spring, which proved to be tougher than this piece of steel. I'm going to use this round end, so there's nothing sharp over here. I'm just going to dab it in a little bit of grease, and just make sure you lube up everything properly over here. Alright, first O-ring replaced and lubed. Now we have this cylinder assembly. I'm going to take off this O-ring. I'm going to place it here. It seems to be fitting this O-ring, but before I attach it, I'm just going to remove this little cylinder here. As you can see, there is another O-ring over there, which I will also replace. First, let me clean this up a little bit. Go. just go ahead and take this off. There you go. That should be our 3 O-rings. Let's take this one and put it back in its place. There we go. Use a bit of lube. Alright. This has been exchanged. I don't see any other O-rings over here. So let's just insert this back. Okay. So our initial 3 O-rings have been replaced. Let's put this bag into the bag. Now let's move on to the bigger O-rings. Okay. Well, these seem to be the appropriate O-rings. So let's go ahead and replace these. Alright, these have been replaced. So let's go ahead and lube these up. Okay, these are lubed up. Let's check out if there are any other O-rings, because there seems to be 2 more. Okay. I can see 1 O-ring over here. Let's go ahead and take this out. Okay. Let's replace it. Okay. Let's put a little lube. Now there's 1 more little O-ring here, which is actually from the airline itself, which is all the way in there. And I don't think we're going to need to replace this, because we have no leakage from this end. But I'll make sure to just add a little bit of lube, because as she always says, a little bit of extra lube never hurt anyone. Now let's reassemble. I'm just gonna hand tighten everything because there's no use to putting in stuff. I just might damage the whole thing. Take the pliers just to tighten it a little bit more. Not too tight, just to make sure you just close the gap. And that's it. Nice and hand tight. I'm going to take the rest of these O-rings and put them back into the bag. We have everything reassembled. Everything is lubed up. Now it's time to plug it in and make a water test. Now for the water test, I will be right back in just a moment because I need to fill up this little cap with some water. Alright, so now we have it all connected up to air, and let's do the hydro test. So now there shouldn't be any air coming out of there if I put this underwater. But as you can see, we are still leaking, and this whole operation is a fail. Now, the thing is here, actually, and honestly, that if you leak this small amount of air, in reality, this shouldn't be a problem to anyone, because you're going to have this connected to air, I don't know, for 3 to 4 hours while you're playing. And even at high pressures, you are most probably going to use up about 1,000 psi at a game, even with heavy shooting. It still leaves you about 2,000 psi. So with this much leak, you won't even notice that you lost the air, and at the end of the game you just unplug the system from the air and you should be fine. But then there's certain kinds of customers that if they observe even the slightest amount of inconvenience, they're just going to return the product and ask for warranty. So this is one of those situations. Now, I can't say that the customer is wrong, but I can't say that he's right. It's just one of those weird situations where you don't find a compromise. So shipping this back to US from Romania, and I don't know, Wolverine may be just replacing the O-rings just like I did. I have no certainty of them doing a hydro test just like I did, just to prove the unit itself. I don't know, maybe they do, maybe they don't, I have no clue. But at the same time, I have no insurance. So worst case scenario could be I send this all the way to the United States with all the shipping fees and import and export things and papers and craziness. They do the work, they send it back, I test it and it still leaks. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario would have been I replace these O-rings, lube everything up, and I don't lose any more air. But that's not the situation, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but it is what it is. So thanks for watching, and I'm pretty sure we will be sending this video to Wolverine Airsoft. I hope that they understand what I mean when I say the things that I do, yeah, it's a pretty rough situation when you get into something like this. So thanks for watching, and see you on the next video, guys.